Hey everybody, today I'll be talking through my entire board game collection. Now I try to do one of these every single year to give you an idea about what is coming and going in my own personal collection. Before I get started on the run through, I want to give a shout out to the show sponsor KIENDA.co.uk, who are my go-to online retailer, and if you use the link in the show notes or the QR code, then you can get 5% off your first order. But let's get started with the entire collection run through. So let's start at the top with these big boxes, and we're going to start with Marrakesh from the Steffenfeld City collection. I know there's a smaller version now, but I have the original big one. With Steffenfeld here we have Amerigo. I also have my favourite game of all time, El Grande, of course, and we also have Wallenstein. So those are my four big boxes. A few additional things here, like I've got the prototype of Awkward Guests 2, which I haven't played yet, and that one is upcoming on Kickstarter soon. We've got an escape room game there that I've not played, and also the expansion to War Chest, along with my GEEKNSON Dice Tower. I also have some prototypes here and little things I need to review. I've got the Agora expansion to Seven Wonders Duel. All these games here are from a very small publisher called Ra Games. I've not tried any of them, unfortunately, but I'll be sure to get to those soon. And a couple of little kind of miscellaneous bits there. Let's start with the main collection then. And this is a particularly strong segment here where you have three of my favourite games of all time, with Ultimate Railroads, Barrage, and Keyflower. You know, these are all like 9s or 10s out of 10s for me. Moving on to the next Kallax space, we have Terra Mystica with the is it the Seas expansion, the one with the boats and docks. I've not played that one yet either, but I do really like Terra Mystica in itself. We have Finca, more Feld with Luna, so you'll be seeing a lot of Feld games. We have Footprints, which is a more recent acquisition. We have the original Kraftwagen, the original Kalamala rather than the updated edition. Another one of the best games of all time with Hansa Teutonica, the big box version there. Municipium, a very overlooked Riley Knizia area control game. The Rich and the Good, which is like my favourite economic kind of stocks and speculation style game. Moving on, we have Lorenzo Il Magnifico, Firenze, Brussels 1893, Troyes, and Docmus. Now this is a very old school traditional beige Euro segment here, which I think looks awesome. Docmus is a very kind of overlooked, kind of a route building style game that feels like a Knizia game, but it isn't. Moving on to some other games now, we have Grand Austria Hotel with the Let's Waltz expansion. Citrus, Newton with quite a few of the expansions, some of the additional content from Cranio Creations. One of my favourite games here with Babylonia. Some old school Istari games in this particular segment with Sulla, Kalis, the original one, Assyria, and Myrmes, which I believe is getting a reprint sooner rather than later. Some more old school Euros now with East, Goa, Rise, which is a more recent addition, a very nice little kind of a combo-rific style game. We have St. Petersburg, which is one of the kind of Grail games in my collection. This is the second edition of this great tableau builder. We have a Feld segment here with Bonfire, Aquasphere, the Oracle of Delphi, and I recently reacquired Notre Dame, which I need to play again. I did used to own this, I sold it, but I had the itch to reacquire Notre Dame because I really do like the game. More Feld games now with Bora Bora, another kind of a Grail game. In the Year of the Dragon, the traditional version, the original of Castles of Burgundy. You know, no fancy bells and whistles for me. We have Puerto Rico and Saint Malo as well. This is one of the original roll and write style games. Now below this we have Concordia, Power Grid, Glenmore 2 Chronicles, two more recently acquired games here with Empire's End and abstract strategy game The Duke. Now this is kind of the newer version of it. It's called Lord's Legacy. I think it has some additional units and things that you can add in. I like that one. We also have The Wandering Towers, First Rat, Las Vegas Royale, and Karuba. So these are kind of getting lighter as we go. These are kind of a gateway level games, maybe a step above that. Next to that, We have Jorvik, which is another Feld game, one that's not as highly rated. I do really like it. I don't play it too often, but the box shape is different to all the other ones, so it doesn't go as well with the other collection. Quo Vadis, which is the original Zoo Vadis, which I have actually pre-ordered. So I'll probably replace this one as soon as that Zoo Vadis gets to me. We have Furnace, Spirium, which is another Istari game, but I didn't have enough room to put it with the other ones. And as you can see, it is a different shape box to those. And we have the new edition of Ra. And this isn't the posh one, the deluxe one, but I do have the new edition with the Ian O'Toole artwork. I really like this edition, and it's definitely the best one yet. Next to this then we have Bastille, which is a very generic worker placement game. I'm not too keen on this one, and if I ever say there's not a game I'm not too keen on, it's because I do share my collection with my brother, so some of these are my brother's games. We have Praga Caput Regni, one of my favourite Vladimir Suki games, along with Pulsar 2849, and another City collection game, and we have Hamburg, which is the reprinting of Bruges, and this has I have the language dependent cards, which are an absolute must-have, and if you know the game, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. To the left of this segment then, and apologies if I'm shaking the camera a bit, I've not got not got too much room here. We have Vikings, one of my favourite kind of Gateway Plus level games by Michael Kiesling. Trajan, one of my favourite games of all time, another Feld game there. Pergamon, highly underrated lightweight Euro. Tinner's Trail by Martin Wallace. And another kind of Grail game here with Peloponnese. This is kind of a disaster mitigation style game. Works really well, a touch of auction in there as well. Next to that, we have these €4. We have Maracaibo, one of the heaviest games in my collection, and the only Alexander Pfister game that I own at this time. Zolkin the Mayan Calendar, the original Euro game that I owned actually, and still one of my favourites. Teletum, so we've got kind of one of Tashini's older games and one of his newer games, and Istanbul, the big box version, and I'm still yet to play one of the expansions to that one, but I love Istanbul. To the left of this, we got these kind of old school style games with Mexica, another Wolfgang Kramer game, a very abstract style area control game. We have Chin, a very difficult game to get a hold of, a Rainer Knizia domino style game that is absolutely phenomenal. With more Knizia here with Ingenious. I love getting this one out with a more kind of casual gaming group or gaming night. Caesar's Empire, highly overlooked, kind of a family weight style game, and Dragon Keepers, which was one of my favourite games from last year, by Michael Menzel. Simple little card game as you're collecting different dragons. To the left of this, I have Cartographers, which I'm lukewarm on. It's my brother's game, and I have all the additional maps and things in that one. Chinatown, one of the best social games there is. Favour of the Pharaoh, which is an okay kind of Yahtzee style game by Tom Lehman, actually, of Race for the Galaxy fame. We have Wild Tiled West, one of my favourite polyomino style games, and Game of Thrones, the board game, one I've had in my collection for years and years and years, but it's so heavy that I've not had a chance to play that one yet. To the left of that segment, we have this one here, which is more family style games with Picture Perfect, really fun little memory style game. The Quacks of Quedlinburg with expansions. The Quest for El Dorado, a game that's really grown on me over time, kind of a deck building racing game. And Savannah Park, another Kramer and Kiesling puzzly style game there. Below that, we have some more lighter games with Manila, another game that's quite hard to get hold of. It's a kind of a betting style game as you're wagering on these different boats, landing on certain spots. My Farm Shop, my favourite Machikoro style game. Tumble Town, one that's it's kind of like a dice drafting style game. It's fine, very family friendly. And Capital Lux 2, probably the best card game of all time. And I do have the new the expansion to this one as well, which I haven't played yet. To the right of that segment, we have Blockers. This is a pretty decent little kind of an abstract style game as you're trying to connect these different tokens together. We have Manhattan, an absolute classic area control game. Havilandi, one of Knizia's newest games, and I think this one is fantastic. One of my favourite games of 2023. Vabank, classic bluffing game. Cryptid, a really nice deduction style game where you're using this map to try and work out a particular location and where the cryptid could be hiding. We got a bit of a weird Kallax space here to the right of it with awkward guests. Now, I just talked about the Berwick cases. This is the original awkward guests, probably the best deduction game out there. We have Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. We have the original Libertalia, which looks way better than the new Stonemaier one. The Search for Planet X. And Cursed Court, which is a game that I've recently acquired. My brother did. This is a really nice hidden gem style game that I've been enjoying a lot recently. Moving on. Again, apologies for the shaky camera. We have Marrakesh, nice little roll and move style game, better than it should be. And we have Fast Sloths, a racing game where you cannot actually move your sloth. You have to rely on all these different animals to move you. Samurai, classic Knizia area control game. We have Bits, which is like a Knizia, kind of a polyomino Tetris style game. Arcadia, which is one of Rudiger Dorn's best games actually, one that is criminally underrated. It's a kind of a polyomino style game, but with some commodity speculation. A really good hybrid. We have Nefertiti, which is an average auction style game. Then moving on, we have another kind of a weird bunch of games here. We have First Contact, which is like a limited communication deduction style game, one that I've not really played enough to review, but I do really need to play some more of this one. Acropolis, one of my favourite tile placement games of the last couple of years. A Dice Miner, simple dice drafting game that I'm lukewarm on at best. A Framework, which is my favourite of the Nova Luna line from Uwe Rosenberg, and I think this is one of the only Uwe Rosenberg games that I own. I think it's two more that I own, and one of them isn't even mine, and you'll see that in a minute. We have Nidavellir, really good auction-style game. Some great set collection, one of the best set collection games out there, actually. To the right of this, we have Ship Shape, lovely little puzzly tile placement game. Rumble Nation, an absolute gem of an area control game, using dice to control different regions. Forest Shuffle, again, one of the best games of 2023. Can't Stop, classic Sid Saxon push your luck game. Hooky, which is a nice one I've played recently, a kind of a deduction word game. And Rapido, one of my favourite, well, probably my favourite push your luck style game that I think is an improvement on Can't Stop, but I do like Can't Stop as well. And we also have a little game here called Matryoshka, which is this kind of Russian doll style game, trying to collect sets. It's fine. To the right of that, we're going to start going into the smaller games now. So I have, in this segment, we have Rustling Leaves. I remember picking this game up really cheaply, actually, from Zatu, I believe. This is a Paolo Mori design, where you're trying to cross off all these different segments and collect different animals. It's really good, actually. Marabunta, another Knizia game. You can see I own a lot of Knizia. This is one of his newest two-player ones. High Score, more Knizia, just a pure dice roller. Stella and Subastral, Pinchback and Matt Riddle games. Those are both fantastic set collection games. The classic Sleuth as a deduction game, and Nar, another one of my favourites from 2023. To the right of that, I have Next Station London, yet to try Next Station Tokyo. Photograph, a very difficult little game there that I'm terrible at. Kobe Yakawa, Splitto, Spicy. We have Hanamakoji, one of my most played games of all time. Parade, Kaching, a completely forgotten gem. Thank you to Mackenzie Franklin from Side Game LLC for recommending that one quite a while ago. Hex Roller, another kind of classic roll and write. And Cabo as well, a really fun memory style game. To the right of that, I have Nemalia, made my top 10 of 2023. It's a little kind of card overlaying game. Fleet the Dice game, For Sale, probably the best filler game of all time. Botswana, more Knizia there. Flea Market, this is a criminally underrated game. I enjoy that one a lot. Unusual Suspects, that was a funny game as well. We have, from the Pencil First games, these are the ones that I've kept, are Delicious, Herbaceous, and Floriferous. Below that we have Hiroba, criminally overlooked area control game, and Rome in a Day. And we also have this little game here called Kirai, which is a little kind of simultaneous selection, paper, rock, scissors style game. In the space next to that, I have Raise. So Raise is another overlooked bluffing and betting style game. I really enjoy that one. Battle Line and more Knizia on Condottiere. Brilliant card game, very competitive. Long Shot, the dice game. Get on board with the new version as well. So there's New York and London. I think the other one is like Paris and something else as well. Paris and Rome, I think. I've got that one inside the same box. Biblios, another excellent filler game. And Valbar, which is the nice little simultaneous card selection game as well. Below that, I have all my tiny boxes. Again, apologies for the shaky camera, but I'm trying to do some gymnastics here. We have Gap, we have Triggs, Enchanted Plumes, which is one I'm really enjoying recently. We have Splitter, we have Fuji Flush. This is Vegetable Stock, which I think is getting reprinted. We have 5 Towers, No Thanks, Coloretto, 6 Nimpt, Ohanami, which is upside down for some reason, Pungi, and Gift of Tulips. These two at the bottom we don't really play very often, to be honest. They're average at best again. One of my favourite games to the right of that, I have War Chest with both of the current expansions. So I have the Siege expansion and the Nobility expansion. And I believe there's even a new one coming out soon, which could be interesting. Above that, we have Arboretum, fierce game that I don't play very often, but I do love it. We have Fugitive and Wizards of the Grimoire with the Shifting Sands expansion. A lot of two-player games in this next segment now. So one of the other Uwe Rosenberg games that we own are Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small. I've only played this one once, I believe. I thought it was okay at best. Not the biggest fan of it, but it is my brother's game. Hashi, very strange little roll and write style game. Shanghaian, which is a simple, that's quite charming actually, a little set collection style game with dice, and some great two-player games here. We have Seven Wonders Duel, one of the best, Mandala and Patterns, both of these Mandala games. They're both phenomenal two-player games. Tramban, Forgotten Gem. This one needs to be reprinted. It is excellent, especially if you like games like Lost Cities. And the other Rosenberg game is Patchwork. I also have the Rose King, which I've not played yet, actually. To the left of that square, we have QE, a really interesting auction-style game where you can bid whatever you want. Time's Up, Dawn. Now, this is a game we need to play some more of. This is kind of a semi-cooperative hidden role style game. Trio, which got quite popular in 2023. Skull, So Clover, Just One, Letter Jam, Trap Words, and What Came First as well. So these are all some simple party games. I do like a good party game. To the left of this, again, apologies for the shaky camera, more party games with Concept, Herd Mentality. We have some homemade versions of Witness there that we've not played because that game is so difficult to get a copy of. Telestrations, one of the best party games of all time. Alice's Garden, great polyomino game. Age of War by Rainer Knizia. King's Kilt, Compromat, and this square box here is Push, another fantastic push your luck style game. Moving on, we have some more kind of party style games with Wits and Wagers, another one of my favourites. We have Tags, we have When I Dream, which is a fantastic one I've not played in a long time actually. Boulder Dash, or Absolute Boulder Dash, which I've yet to play, but I know it's supposed to be very good. And Crossed Word, which I think is a criminally overlooked party style game. Some more small box games here now to the left, where we have games like Roll to the Top, simple dice roller, Archaeology, Tifa Tashin, which is one of the rarest games I have in my collection, also known as Good Critters. I love this negotiation style game. Air, Land and Sea with the Spies, Lies and Supplies expansion. I just randomly mix them up when I play them. District Noir, Pinata, Break the Code and High Society, so more Knizia, and even more Knizia here with we've got Medici, the dice game. The Number, Abluxon, also known as Linko. I need to play some more of this one, actually. World Exchanges, one of the best games I played last year. Quest and the Resistance Avalon, so that's my kind of social deduction fix there. And a Game of Thrones Betwixt. Now this is an auction style game that's very chaotic, but somehow manages to pull it off. Onto the last couple of squares now. We have some Oink games with Scout. That's the most popular one, of course. To the right of that, we have Mask Men. Now this one is actually, I think, is an excellent little shedding style game that doesn't really get a lot of buzz, actually. Below that, we have Startups and 2 dexterity games with Dropolter and Rafter 5. So that's my little dexterity collection there. We have Fiesta de los Muertes, which is a cooperative party game. And half that Kallax or more is filled up with Museum, which is the kind of big collector's edition that we waited for a long time to get delivered. I think Museum's fine. I think it's a gorgeous looking game, probably one of the most attractive games I have, actually. But the artwork is stellar, but the gameplay is decent at best, I suppose. So there's a lot of space there being taken up by Museum. And the final segment I have is this one here with Speculation. Mysterium. This one also has Detective Club and Dixit in the same box, so if I want to play that style of game, I'll play, well, all of the cards are in here. Out of all of those three, my favourite is definitely Detective Club, but I also do like Dixit more than I like Mysterium itself, but the Mysterium artwork is fantastic. First and Roll, which is an American football style game. I don't really play this one because I'm not into American football and it's not my game. And also Sheriff of Nottingham, kind of a family-friendly bluffing and style game where you can lie about what's in your bag. The last one there is just where I keep all of my sleeves, etc. So that's all of the games. So you see, I've probably cut down quite a bit since last year. I'm just going to stand up now because I'm in a very uncomfortable position. But yeah, you can see that I have cut down on the heavier style games, but still lots of great games here to play. I've got a nice library that I can always pick and choose from, and I'm always looking to try to cut down and refine what I have. And ultimately, despite me loving some games that I've ended up culling, I want to keep games that I know I can get to the table at any time, and I have that urge to play them at all times. But hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please be sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel and check out my other content too. And for everybody else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye bye.